What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. And today, we got to talk about the sentencing of the people involved in the murder of Julio Foolio. And this is one of those stories where nobody really wins. Julio Fulio is dead. His family still has to live with that loss. And now these men are walking into life sentences that will change them in ways they don't even understand yet. The judge said something in that courtroom that caught a lot of people's attention because she acknowledged that Julio Fulio did not deserve to die, but she also spoke on some of the disrespectful things he did when he was alive. And when Davion Murphy started clapping like the judge was justifying what happened, that told me how far removed some of these boys still are from the weight of what happened.
And, you know, Mr. Jones did not deserve to die for what he did or what he drilled, the drill rap videos he made. But goodness gracious, going and desecrating the gravesite of a murdered relative is... You don't deserve to be killed for that, but you just increased your odds that it was going to happen. And that's the truth. That is the truth. So I'm not at all, again, stating that he deserved it, but it's just shocking. It's shocking to me.
The clap was crazy to me. Even if you believe Julio Fulio did disrespectful things, even if you believe he disrespected the dead, even if you believe he put a lot of dog energy into the app, none of that means a man deserves to be hunted down and killed. That is where this whole culture gets sick. Rap beef turns into real beef. Real beef turns into funerals. And then people who survived it sit in courtrooms still trying to act like the violence makes sense. That clap didn't look like remorse. It looked like somebody still holding on to the street logic that put his ass in that chair in the first place. That is the sad part. When a life sentence is being handed down and your mind is still on whether or not somebody deserved it, prison hasn't even started touching you yet. The lesson is coming. Not in the first week, not in the first year. The real lesson is going to come when the world moves on, when the cameras leave, when the internet finds another story. And all that's left is a cell, a routine, and the same thoughts that keep coming back every night. That is when life without parole starts talking to you. And that brings me to Isaiah Chance, because his statement showed another side of the same problem.
So Judge Cisco, unlike the rest of my co-defendants here, they all are charged with being the alleged shooters and have the same verdicts. However, me, on the other hand, the one who was charged with me for playing the same alleged role as I, gets found not guilty for what I am charged with. Alicia case didn't contradict the alleged shooters versus the state case. I don't even think it's possible it could have. However, it contradicts mine being the only principle here, because both of our jury's decisions contradict each other. The only nuance is I went to trial with 3 other people who have the same verdict as I, and she didn't.
This midday, Alicia Andrews, one of the 5 people found guilty in the death of Jacksonville rap artist Julio Fulio, will serve 15 years in prison. Andrews was convicted of manslaughter last October. Before sentencing, though, her attorneys asked a judge to throw out the verdict. They say she did not receive a fair trial, should not be sentenced either. Prosecutors say Andrews helped track Julio Fulio, whose real name was Charles Jones, before he was ambushed and killed outside a Tampa hotel in 2024. Also, a jury recommended life in prison for the 4 men convicted of murder in this case.
I understand why a man would be emotional when he hears life without parole. I understand fear. I understand regret. I understand looking over at somebody else and wondering why their time looks different than your time. But Isaiah can't act like him and Alicia were in the same position because the court didn't see it that way. She was convicted of manslaughter and got 15 years. He was convicted of first-degree murder in a plot to kill Julio Fulio. That's completely different. You can be mad at the system, but you have to be honest about what the system said you did. And this is where the dry snitching energy comes in. Because when you start saying, why did she get this and I got that? You're not just defending yourself. You're pointing at her like her sentence should have been worse too. That is not accountability. That is panic wearing a suit. And I don't say that to mock him. I say that because this is what happens when the tough image finally runs into a sentence it can't outperform. The street talk gets quiet. The music video energy disappears. And now everybody is trying to explain why the consequences should land differently.
Alicia get found not guilty for my current charge. It wasn't a coincidence. Basically what I'm saying is Alicia in the state alleged that we played, that's getting into like the facts of like the case.
Well, that's okay. If I'm hearing you correctly, you are taking issue with the fact that your I don't know if she's your current or former girlfriend, but she went to trial. She was convicted of a manslaughter and got 15 years, and now you're here facing life. And that, I would assume, that seems unjust to you. Is that correct?
That's highly unjust. I seen Susie Lopez on the news this morning, and she was saying that justice has been served. Absolutely, if you see it from that perspective. But everything that's a perspective is based off perception. So if you say that's justice, okay, but when you look at, if you put me and Alicia up on, like, side by side, that's unjust. Like, it's injustice. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's contrary to my verdict. Like, her jury made their decision. My jury our jury made their decision, but it contradicts, like, both of our verdicts. The only difference is, like, I went to trial with my co-defendants and she went to trial by herself. So I feel like, personally, I got guilt more so by association than, like, participation. That's all I really wanted to say.
This is what I don't think he fully understands yet. He understands he got life. He understands he don't want that sentence. But understanding punishment is not the same as understanding responsibility. A person can be sorry they got caught, sorry they got sentenced, sorry their life is over as they knew it, and still not be ready to face the damage that they created. That takes time. And life without parole gonna give him a lot of time. And we all know prison is not designed to heal nobody. Prison is designed to punish, break, control, change personalities, and make a man live with the same bad decision long after everybody else has forgotten about it. They are young right now. They still have some courtroom energy, pride, some attitude, some idea of who they think they are. 20 years from now, they will not be the same men. 30 years from now, if they live that long, the people they were in that courtroom will feel like ghosts they can't get rid of. This is the part young boys don't think about when that rap beef feels exciting. They think about the payback. They think about the respect. They think about not looking weak. They do not think about being 50 years old, waking up in the same system because they did something when they was 20. And that is why I had a problem with Isaiah trying to warn the youth too quickly.
So, to my city, man, it ain't worth it, boy. Like, it ain't worth it. Like, me being a rapper from my city and Fulio being a rapper from our city, it ain't worth it. Like, my mouth getting dry, sorry. Like, the dissing, the beefing, the shooting, like, for what? Like, for what? Like, when you sitting in your cell alone, cold, lonely as hell in that bit, everybody leave you. Like, nobody here for you. Like, the ones that's your ride or die, your girlfriends, whoever you love, the only person there for you is your mother. And maybe, like, one friend, maybe. But it ain't worth it, though, bro. It ain't worth it. I was 21 years old facing the death penalty. My only interactions with law enforcement was traffic tickets.
The message is true, but I don't know if the messenger has lived enough of the consequence to deliver it yet. It ain't been long enough. Not enough years, not enough nights, not enough holidays missed, or quiet moments where a man has to sit with what he did. Right now, it's not worth it can sound like something a person says because they just heard that sentence. Later, after prison has taken years from him that he can't get back, that same sentence may come from a different place. That is when it might mean something deeper. But the youth still need to hear the warning, even if the warning is coming from a man who may not fully understand it. This is where rap, beef, and violence can take you. One side thinks disrespect has to be answered. The other side thinks the response has to be bigger than the disrespect. Then somebody dies, somebody gets life, and the internet treats the whole thing like an episode until the next case drops. That is not culture. That's a death loop with a beat behind it. And then we get the Sean Gathright.
A study done by the National Institute of Mental Health provided evidence showing that the brain doesn't reach full maturity until 26 to 27 years old for men, about 8 or 9 years older than my time during the offense. But society knows this, and that's why laws set age requirements on certain activities, amenities, and substances as a way to protect adolescent adults. Yet those same laws don't extend to an adolescent adult when they are charged with crimes and allows them to be prosecuted to the fullest extent, regardless of their age. Your Honor, it is heartbreaking that an 18-year-old can't rent a car or a hotel or buy a home, but can be sentenced to death or life in prison without the possibility of parole. They can't purchase alcohol or tobacco, but can be sentenced to death or life in prison without the possibility of parole. They can't work certain jobs or even go on a cruise without a chaperone, but can be sentenced to death without life, or life without prison, in prison without possibility of parole. And I'm a prime example of these circumstances. At 18 years old, with no prior convictions, I was charged, indicted, and had to face the death penalty. My point is, society views anyone under the age of 21 as not being mentally mature enough to participate or partake in these activities, amenities, and substances, because certain substances listed can negatively impact or stunt the growth of a developing brain, while other activities and amenities have restrictions due to the lack of impulse and behavioral control or lack of situational awareness at times with teens. It is very simple to understand that our brains have not developed enough, that we live in a society where someone under the age of 21 can be sentenced to death or life in prison without parole. We leave no room for growth, rehabilitation.
Sean's statement was hard to take serious in the way he wanted people to take it. This is a man who has been publicly presenting himself like he had fans on the outside waiting for updates from prison.
I'm just reaching out to y'all, just to give y'all a quick update about my situation. Right now they got me in confinement. It's just a protocol thing after Friday, but I should be out of here soon and, reaching back out to everybody. I've seen, I've heard that, a lot of y'all have been reaching out to my Instagram page at the official Sean G. This is my real page. This is the page that I will be, communicating to the outside world from, through my management team and stuff like that. I really appreciate all the messages and, all the comments and the likes and the shares and the donations. It means more than y'all can understand. Like, it truly means a lot in a difficult time like this. We all know that God has the last word, and I just really appreciate y'all for seeing me in a different light. Y'all will be hearing from me soon. Like I said, I just have to get out of confinement, take a couple days, but I appreciate y'all. I love every single one of y'all.
And that tells you how warped this whole thing has become. When a man is facing life for a murder case and still think there's a fan base around his name, that is not just immature. That is what happens when the internet makes street cases feel like entertainment. The truth is, this ain't a show for them no more. This ain't a storyline. This ain't a rap video. This is their life now. The judge can walk out. The lawyers can go home. The cameras will shut off. But these defendants have to wake up inside that sentence. And that is where the real punishment begins. I don't look at this case and feel happy. I don't feel like celebrating 4 men getting life, even though a jury found them responsible for doing something disgusting. I look at it and see how sad the whole thing is. Julio Foolio was a human being. He was also a part of a culture where disrespect, dead friends, grave mocking, and rap beef turned into something darker than music. These men made a choice to take darkness into real life. And now they gonna pay for that choice in a way that will outlast any song, any post, and any street name they care about. That is the lesson. Not that Julio Fulio was perfect. Not that these men are monsters with no humanity. The lesson is that once you let rap beef, street pride, and violence become your identity, you may not realize the cost until the judge is reading your future out loud. And by then, all that tough talk is useless. The clapping is useless. The excuses are useless. The fan pages are useless. All that's left is time. A lot of time. And prison is going to teach them what the streets, the music, the internet, and their own pride did not. But it's going to teach them the hard way. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.